Welcome to the InventorCAM Professor video series called Jumpstart, the easy way to learn InventorCAM. I'm Sydney, your InventorCAM professor, and in this session, we'll be doing part 4 of our first lesson. Now that our face mill operation is complete, we can add a profile operation to machine the outside dimensions of our cover. Once again, we right-click on Operations, highlight Add Operations, and select Profile. When our Edit Operations dialog opens up, you'll notice that the workflow is very similar to what we saw when we were setting up our face mill operation. We will start by defining our geometry. We are going to select a chain that runs around the perimeter of our part. There are multiple options available to us when defining our geometry, and we will discuss two of these in this example. The first option is to start by selecting an edge, then one at a time click and highlight all subsequent edges until we have worked around to the beginning. Take notice when selecting an edge, this arrow appears. This arrow represents machining direction, and you should be aware of whether you want to perform a conventional or climb cut. Also, the point where my mouse arrow is sitting when I select the first edge will be my initial XY position in my G-code when we are ready to machine this profile, giving us control over where we would like our profile machining to begin. Now we can take a look at our second option of chain selections, Auto Constant Z. In order to show it to you, we will disregard our initial chain by clicking on Reject Chain. What we'll do now is start by picking a single edge for our chain and the Select Auto Constant Z option. As you can see, rather than click on individual edges to construct our chain, it automatically grabs every edge located on the same Z level and connects them to our initial edge selection. With one easy step, we're able to create this entire chain. Once this is complete, click on Finish. Our next step is to create our tool. Once in our tool dialog, we click Select. The only tool we have defined is our face mill. That would not be acceptable for our profile operation. So we can select Add and choose End Mill. We will use the default tool values for this exercise. We can also add a tool holder to our end mill by clicking on the Holder tab and selecting Global Holders Table. As you can see, we have a series of different holders available, and we'll grab the first one on our list. With the tool now defined, we can move to our levels area. We have the ability to pick our levels right off the models. Simply click the upper level button, then come over the model and pick the feature that represents our upper level. Our profile depth is handled in the same manner. Simply click on the feature of the model that represents the profile depth. Delta depth is there to control profile depth even further. For example, let's say we want to leave an extra 0.5 millimeters at the bottom of our part. We can enter 0.5 short of our profile depth. Conversely, we can add minus 0.5 millimeters, and our tool will feed 0.5 millimeters past our profile depth. The direction of the delta depth measurement is represented by this arrow with a corresponding positive or negative symbol. We will leave it at 0 for this session. Our technology field is up next. We can start with tool side. This controls what side our tool selected geometry will be working on, and our choices are left, center, and right. We'll be using left for this session. The compensation box handles whether or not we want to use color compensation when we output our G-code. If we put a check in our rough option, we can do both a rough and finish pass. We can leave material on our wall and our floor, then have the tool come back and machine off the excess material. The default value placed in this field is 0.5 millimeters, and we will change this value to 0.3 on our wall. And we will set our rough step down at 3 millimeters. We are going to leave the number of our finished cut at 1, meaning our tool will come down to the full profile depth and remove 0.3 millimeters on the wall in one single pass. The last area we have to set is link. This controls how we would like our cutting tool to enter and exit our part. When we open the drop down in Lead In, we have 5 options. Every time we select an option, the diagram over here shows us visually how the tool will lead in to our cut. For this exercise, we are going to use an arc lead in, and we will set the value at 4 millimeters. That means the tool will do a 4 millimeter arc into my profile cut. Now in lead out, we have the same options available to us. To simplify things, we have a checkbox called Same as Lead In. If we check this off, our lead out will copy our lead in type and will set the value to match, 4 millimeters in this instance. At this point, we can save and calculate our toolpath. This concludes Part 4 in Lesson 1 in Jumpstart. Thank you for joining us on InventorCAM Professor. Take care and have a nice day.